Nothing says much more than a big battle between two big opponents. Last night, the Power decided to take on the anchoring Alameda Anchors, who are trying to set sail and landfall here in Palm Springs, California, but they came up short. The Power came away with a 7-4 victory last night, with Jaden McNeely leading the way on the mound. And here tonight, brand new pitcher for the Power. A lot to break down. Johnny Maldonado is at my side. My name is Justin Lee. Welcome, fellow friends and esteemed colleagues, here inside the Agua Caliente Casino's booth here at Palm Springs Stadium. Another big game tonight. Game 2 against the Alameda Anchors, like we talked about. Johnny, last night was an interesting game last night.
It was very interesting with the pitching because they gave up 7 walks, but altogether they combined for 14 strikeouts. So it was pretty interesting to see what the pitching can do tonight. But in the past 2 games, they have been pretty good with their strikeouts, as they have 19 in total for the past 2 games so far.
Yeah, the pitching has been another thing, and especially with Jaden McNeely, they needed a little bit of help with that starting role with the absence of Hudson Bonkel, who's not with the team anymore. They're trying to figure out some new starting pitching, and just like tonight, different starting pitcher here tonight. But Jaden McNeely in his first start as a power player, very good outing, and what he did last night was pretty solid. 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 run that was off of an error, 3 hits. And tonight, the pitcher that's on the mound, bit of an interesting story who we'll definitely talk about throughout the evening. But number 15, Angel Landazuri from University of California, Riverside, will be on the bump tonight for the Power as he takes on this strong Anchors lineup who were trying to climb their way back in the 9th inning, but Tyrone Woods finished it off last night. Well, in terms of the offense as well, a lot of players for the Power on hitting streaks right now, but a little bit of a different batting order here tonight compared to what we saw yesterday. No Mark Kirkland tonight. Christian Perez in, Blake Conrad, Cohen Goez, Dalton Thomas, Grayson Gay. A little bit of different from last night.
Yeah, and you also have Michael Gonzalez, who's also been picking up with his hitting as well. Now he has stolen bases, and now he's getting on base with his hits too. So he's been warming up, but there's nothing wrong with having a new lineup out there as well, facing the Anchors.
Well, they'll be headed with Bryant O'Neill, who's had himself a really good stretch of games so far. Last night, jumped in the train again, 2 RBIs last night. Still the team leader in RBIs in that category at 12, just jumping in front of Miles Walton, who has 11 RBIs on the season this year. And Bryant O'Neill, we predicted this a little bit before the season. 526 batting average, a lot of power off that bat. We've talked about the extra base hits he has, 7 doubles throughout this season. What a guy he's been for this Power roster.
Yeah, he's been on fire lately. He's currently holding a 3-game hit streak with 2 or more RBIs in each game as well, and 7 walks in 7 games.
Another big power batter, and even though we're still waiting for the first home run of the season, which may or may not come sooner or later, which we would love to see, but the story of the Power is still that they can steal bases, they can get big hits. It doesn't have to be out of the park. It can just be hits. They're forcing errors, getting walks. They're able to put the ball in play and get runs in.
Yeah, it seems like they're playing small ball, but they're just very aggressive on the base pads. Almost every game there is multiple stolen bases by the team or each player themselves too. Like, for example, Mark Gonzalez always has a pair of stolen bases. And also, it doesn't matter if they get the home runs because this ballpark was made for professional baseball players. And it is 400 feet dead center with at least, a 10-foot wall out there? Something like that. So
yeah.
It is, you need to be a big boy to hit it over the fence out here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We almost saw that last night from the Anchors yesterday when Emmett Desmond, who, by the way, struck out 4 times before he came up to bat and swung one to the left center field side. That one took a 1-hopper off that wall. That was probably the farthest ball we've seen this season from either teams that have played in this stadium. So we have yet to see a ball go out of the park here for both sides. But tonight is Chamber Night for Palm Springs and Rancho Mirage. And Wild Wednesday is also in effect here. So if you're listening to the broadcast, put the computer down or the radio if you want to go come get yourself some $5 margaritas tonight.
Made with extra love, too, so come on down. We also have the beer battle involved as well, which is $4 beers whenever the 4-hole guy strikes out for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, so if you're feeling like you want to come down and have a good time here at the ballpark, come grab yourself a drink because they're a little bit cheap tonight.
Yeah, Budweiser and Bud Light as well.
Heck yeah. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break before we get into the game and the broadcast in general, since they're going to be doing the national anthem pretty soon. But should be a good one here tonight. And we'll talk about Angel Landazuri a little bit later in the broadcast. A very interesting profile behind him here tonight.
Yeah, we got an interesting one here today, folks.
We'll be back here on Fox Sports 1270 AM radio and Palm Springs Power YouTube channel. Justin Lee and Johnny Maldonado in just a few. From Palm Springs, California, here on Fox Sports 1270 AM radio and Palm Springs Power YouTube channel, Justin Lee and Johnny Maldonado on the call tonight. Alameda Anchors versus the Palm Springs Power in Game 2 of this short little series. And like we talked about, Angel Landazuri is up on the mound. Now, he's still a young guy, right?
Yeah.
31 years old, born in 1994, 4 years at UCR, had a 4.17 ERA in 215.2 innings pitched. This is a guy who's got an interesting profile because he's bounced around a bunch of different teams. Anchorage Bucks, he played there in the summer. Union Laguna and León in Mexico. He spent 5 years there, or probably less than I believe. Sioux Falls Canaries he's played with, and then the Wild Things in the Frontier League. This is an interesting pitcher that is up on the mound here tonight. Something a little bit different for you folks out there on this broadcast. Tonight, the starting lineup for the Anchors, E.J. Cord, who was in the meat of the lineup last night, former PSCL player who played with the Palms, or playing the, forgetting which team he was with, but the Colonials he was with in 2023. And then Paul Wagner is in the second spot, 23. Guy Polizzotti in the third spot, 22. Titus Wheelock in the fourth spot. Cameron Imberg is making his debut against the Power tonight at the fifth spot. Jafari Williams, who led off last night, is in the sixth spot. And number 2, Emmett Desmond, is in the 7th spot. He's DHing. 19, Logan Kim, who came in and pinch hit last night. He's in the 8th spot. And then John Klinkenbeer is in the 9 hole for the Alameda Anchors. So a little bit of a different lineup than we saw last night, but they're looking to try to get the job done here, Johnny.
Yeah, Power's been on a good one, on a good roll so far. Let's just hope that their pitching can limit those walks or just cut them in half, because that's what's been killing them. For example, against the Bombers, they had the chances with bases loaded a couple of times or with men in scoring position, but they just couldn't get anything done. But luckily, the Power's offense is always blazing hot, as well as their base running, too. They're always going to take advantage of catchers that can't throw down runners to second or third. So you'll be seeing them being aggressive, especially with this team tonight.
Cato Kleiman is at third. Cohen Goes is at shortstop. At second base, Dalton Thomas will be starting. Christian Perez at first. Nato in left field. Ritter at center field. And Grayson Gegg in right field. And then Blake Conrad is behind in the catcher's position tonight for the Power. And that's your defensive lineup here this evening. Blake Conrad, teammates of Jaden McNeely, who pitched and started last night. And again, we talked about that connection, being able to have your teammate here from St. Mary's and what that means to have another player who you've played with throughout the season and then jumping here in the summer in this Palm Springs area. So here's EJ Cord, who steps in against the new pitcher, Angel Landazuri. The first pitch is missing for a ball on the outside edge to start off here. So here's the next delivery on a 1-0 count. And it's sent to right field. Running in is Gegg. He will slide in, unable to make the catch as it rolls beyond him. EJ will turn around first and go to second. He's down and safe in there before the throw can be made to second. So he'll lead off with a single to the right field side, and Gegg was unable to make the play and the catch.
There's nothing wrong with trying to sliding catch there. Almost had it, but it was just out in front of him.
So it'll be a single and no error since the ball kind of bounced away from him, so it gave ample time for EJ Cord to move to second. So he's over at second base now. And they have a leadoff man in scoring position with no outs already here in the top of the first inning, still 0-0. Paul Wagner steps in the 2-hole. First pitch in their first strike.
I like how Angel's going right in there, even though he just gave up. There's a man in scoring position. But that's all you can do at this point. Just keep attacking the hitters and see what they can do with the pitches.
It's certainly difficult in that right field side since the sun is still dipping behind Mount San Jacinto over there. So it definitely was in his eyes when that ball was sent to right field. So 0-1 count as EJ Cord is trying to go for third. He stays there, and the next pitch is in there for a strike as well. So 0-2, Paul Wagner is behind.
It looks like EJ is trying to take third. He keeps dancing back there. But Angel still hasn't checked up on him by throwing it back there.
He's got Dalton Thomas covering that second base bag. Right behind him would be Guy Paulizzotti, who had 2 singles last night.
Pretty big lead at second.
Very big lead. Swing and a miss on an outside pitch. Off speed, got him swinging and a miss. First strikeout for Angel Landazuri. So 1 away here in the top of the first. And then here's Guy Paulizzotti, we just talked about, 2 singles last night. Angel loads up. EJ Cord still dancing halfway from second base to third. Here's the next delivery. That one's in their first strike. So 4 pitches and 4 strikes so far for Landazuri.
Yeah, it still has it too.
Really striking that middle part of the zone. He's also going a little bit outside as well with a breaking pitch. It's an 0-1 count here. Here's the next delivery. Also gets a strike zone. 0-2 count.
Got him in the pitcher's count here. He can throw him anything he wants. Breaking pitch off the plate, in the dirt, anywhere.
See if he can do the same thing that he did to Wagner just now. Expect an off-speed pitch here. 0-2 count is on the way. Delivers. Swing and a miss. Yes, he does go for the breaking pitch. 2 in a row. Taken down on 6 pitches.
Back-to-back strikeout swinging. And we have Titus Wheelock, the first baseman. Who is also the beer batter as well, just so you guys know.
Indeed, the beer batter tonight. He strikes out. Tire Stadium gets a chance to go get some $4 beers for the next 10 minutes. So they'll be making a little bit of noise here at the ballpark. Still 0-0 ball game with 2 away.
This is my favorite part of the game here. He's out of Modesto Junior College.
That's in there for a strike on the first pitch.
In 34 games played, he was batting .296 with 4 home runs.
He had 2 walks last night, unable to get on base, not unable to get any hits last night, but able to get on base. Next delivery, grounded. Here's Thomas, picks it up on a 1-hopper, and takes it out over to first base to Perez. So they leave the leadoff man up at second, and it's still a 0-0 ball game. And the Power will walk away with 1 man left there. So we'll be right back here on the Power YouTube channel.